The conflict in the play that we chose was when Dr. Stockman received a document about his results from the study of the water samples. His brother, Peter Stockman, also the mayor, is curious about his findings. They turn out not to be ideal findings. Now they are arguing about fixing the problem and whether or not to release the information to the town.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Dr. Stockman.
Have you taken the trouble to consider what your proposed alterations would cost? According to the information I obtained, the expense would probably mount up to 15,000 or 20,000 pounds.
Would it cost so much?
Yes, and the worst part of it would be that the work would take at least 2 years.
2 years. 2 whole years.
At least. And what are we to do with the baths in the meantime? Close them? Indeed, we should oblige to. And do you suppose anyone would come near the place after it got out that the water was dangerous?
Yes, but Peter, that is what it is.
And all this at this juncture, just as the baths are beginning to be known, there are other towns in the neighborhood with qualifications to attract visitors for bathing purposes. Don't you suppose they would immediately strain every nerve to divert the entire stream of strangers to themselves? Unquestionably they would. And then where should they be? We would probably have to abandon the whole thing, which would cost us so much money, and then you would have ruined your native town.
I should have ruined? I.
It is simply and solely through the baths that the town has before it any future worth mentioning. You know that just as well as I do.
But what do you think that ought to be done then?
Your report has not convinced me that the conditions of the water at the baths is as bad as you represent it to be.
I tell you, it is even worse. Or, at all events, it will be in summer, when the warm weather comes.
As I have said, I believe you exaggerate the matter considerably. A capable physician ought to know what measures to take. He ought to be capable of preventing injurious influences or of remedying them if they become obviously persistent.
Well, what more?
We chose this scene because we think it depicts deontology really well. You have, on one hand, the mayor who doesn't want to do the just or right thing here by cleaning up the pollution. He wants to look out for the economical well-being of the town. And then you have the doctor who wants to solve the problem right away and let the town know of everything and solve the health problems. In deontology, the right thing to do would be to side with the doctor who wants to let everyone know and solve the problem. The wrong thing to do here would be to side with the mayor and keep everything running as is just for the economical well-being of the town.
At the time the play was taking place, the central assumption was that pollution isn't as harmful as we see it today. The whole town revolved around the baths for jobs, tourism, and personal consumption. People didn't believe something they couldn't see or were taught before. They relied on old truths. People back then wouldn't compromise their economic well-being for something that didn't have a scientific fact yet. Now we have scientific reasoning and education, and people are more concerned with their health. Today, if we found pollution in our water, it would be a big deal, and we would immediately take action no matter the cost.